All right, adding and subtracting rational expressions. This is question 4A, B, and C. This, again, adding and subtracting rational expressions is exactly like adding and subtracting fractions. We need to have a common denominator, and so the denominators need to be the same. So our first step will be to try and make the bottoms the same as simply as possible, and then after that we will combine the like terms on top. Before we can do that, we look to see if we can factor the bottom. So the fraction on the left here, we can factor out an a, so it becomes a bracket a plus 4, close the bracket. The top will remain the same as 4. The fraction on the right, we can factor out an a as well, and then we have an a minus 3. The top stays the same, and we're adding. Now we look and see what we have in common here. When we have brackets around terms, that means that that is one whole factor unto itself. And so we have to have a plus 4. And then in this one we have an a minus 3. So when we look to compare the bottoms, we see what do they have in common. They both have an a as a factor, but this one has an a plus 4, this one has an a minus 3, and both need to be the case. Whatever the fraction is missing on the bottom, that is what you multiply by. So this one is missing the a minus 3, so we are going to write a minus 3 on the bottom. And just like with fractions, whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top, a minus 3. Notice I put them in brackets to remind us that that is a factor unto itself. The right fraction is missing an a plus 4. So we need to multiply it by a plus 4. And again, what you do to the top, you do to the bottom. That's what keeps it as the same fraction. Now we have the bottoms the same. We have an a minus 3, and an a plus 4. In this one we have an a minus 3, and an a plus 4. Even though they're in different orders, that doesn't matter with multiplication. The bottoms are the same. Now I can write this as one big happy fraction. The bottom will be a minus 3, a plus 4, and on top we have 4, a minus 3. Notice these are being multiplied together, so that's why I write it like this. 3a plus 4. Now that we have a common denominator, we can write it as one big fraction, and we simplify the top by combining like terms. But before we can do that, we need to multiply through and get rid of the brackets. So this 4 we're going to multiply through. So it becomes 4a minus 12. This one becomes, as we multiply through rainbow styles, becomes plus 3a plus 12 all over a minus 3, a plus 4. Okay. Now we can combine the like terms. 4a and 3a add to become a 7a. Negative 12 and positive 12 cancel out because negative 12 plus 12 equals 0, so we can just leave it. The bottom stays the same. We have a minus 3, a plus 4. Now, we're all done the adding and subtracting. What we need to worry about now is see if we can simplify. The top has an a, the bottom has an a. So we can actually cancel these out. You can't cancel out this a with the a inside this bracket or the a inside this bracket because they're inside the brackets, meaning they are a part of a factor. They're not a factor unto themselves. So this a and this a cancel out, and so we get 7, a minus 3, a plus 4. And now we're done. We look at non-permissible values. We have to look at the non-permissible values before we cancel anything out. So we have A cannot equal 0, positive 3, and negative 4. All done.